The solar system is a gravitational bound system of the Sun and the objects that orbit it, formed about 4.6 billion years ago when the dense region of the molecular cloud collapsed, forming the Sun in a protoplanetary disk. The Sun is a typical star that maintains a balanced equilibrium by fusion of hydrogen into helium at its core and releasing the energy into its outer photosphere. Astronomers classify it as a G-type main sequence star. The largest objects in the orbit of the Sun are the 8 planets. In order from the Sun, they are the 4 terrestrial planets or rock planets, Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, 2 giant gas planets, Jupiter and Saturn, and 2 ice giants, Uranus and Neptune. All terrestrial planets have solid surfaces. Inversely, all giant planets do not have a definite surface, as they are mainly composed of gases and liquids. Over 99.86% of the solar system's mass is in the Sun, and nearly 90% of that remaining mass is in Jupiter and Saturn. There's a strong consensus among astronomers that the solar system has at least 9 dwarf planets, and there are a vast number of small solar system bodies such as asteroids, comets, centaurs, meteoroids, and interplanetary dust clouds. Some of these bodies are in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter's orbit, and the Kuiper belt just outside of Neptune's orbit. 6 planets, 7 dwarf planets, and other bodies have orbiting natural satellites, which are commonly called moons. The solar system is constantly flooded by the Sun's charged particles, solar winds, forming the heliosphere. Around 75 to 90 astronomical units from the Sun, the solar wind is halted, resulting in a heliopause. This is the boundary of the solar system to interstellar space. The outermost region of the solar system is a theorized Oort cloud and a source of long-period comets extending to the radius of 200,000 astronomical units. The closest star to the solar system is Proxima Centauri, about 4.25 light years and 269,000 astronomical units. Both stars belong to the Milky Way galaxy. The solar system remains in a relatively stable, slowly evolving state by following isolated gravitational bound orbits around the Sun. Although the solar system has been fairly stable for billions of years, it is technically chaotic and may eventually be disrupted. There's a small chance that another star will pass through the solar system in the next few billion years. Although this could destabilize the system and eventually lead millions of years later to explosions of planets, collisions of planets, or planets hitting the Sun, it would most likely leave the solar system much as it is today. The Sun's main sequence phase from beginning to end will last about 10 billion years for the Sun, compared to around 2 billion years for all the other subsequent phases of the Sun's pre-remnant life combined. The solar system will remain roughly as it is known today until the hydrogen in the core of the Sun has been entirely converted to helium, which will occur roughly 5 billion years from now. This will mark the end of the Sun's main sequence life. At that time, the core of the Sun will contract with hydrogen fusion occurring along the shell surrounding the inert helium, and the energy output will be greater than the present. The outer layers of the Sun will expand roughly 260 times their current diameter, and the Sun will become a red giant. Because of increased surface area, the surface of the Sun will be cooler than it is on the main sequence. The expanded Sun is expected to vaporize Mercury as well as Venus, and render Earth and Mars uninhabitable, possibly even destroying Earth as well. Eventually, the core will be hot enough for helium fusion. The Sun will burn helium for a fraction of the time that it burned hydrogen in the core. The Sun is not massive enough to commence the fusion of heavier elements, and the nuclear reactions in the core will dwindle. Its outer layers will be ejected into space, leaving behind the dense white dwarf, half the original mass of the Sun, but only the size of Earth. The ejected outer layers may form a planetary nebula, returning some of the material that formed the Sun, but now enriched with heavier elements like carbon to the interstellar medium. Pluto is a dwarf planet in the Kuiper Belt, a ring of bodies beyond the orbit of Neptune. It is the 9th largest and 10th most massive known object to directly orbit the Sun. Pluto is made primarily of ice and rock and is much smaller than the inner planets, about half the diameter of the smallest planet Mercury. Pluto has roughly 1/6 the mass of the Moon and is 1/3 its volume. It was originally considered a planet. Its classification changed when astronomers amended the definition of the planet with a new criteria. Pluto has a moderately eccentric and inclined orbit, ranging from 30 to 49 astronomical units from the Sun. Light from the Sun takes 5.5 hours to reach Pluto at its orbital distance of 39.5 astronomical units. Pluto's eccentric orbit brings it closer to the Sun than Neptune from time to time, but a stable orbital resonance prevents them from colliding. Pluto was discovered in 1930 by Clyde W. Tombaugh, making it the first known object in the Kuiper Belt. It is immediately hailed as the 9th planet. However, its planetary status was questioned when it was found to be much smaller than expected. These doubts increased following the discovery of additional objects in the Kuiper Belt starting in the 1990s. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union formally redefined the term planet to exclude dwarf planets such as Pluto. Many planetary astronomers, however, continue to consider Pluto and other dwarf planets to be planets. I agree with the old-timers. Pluto was named a planet in 1930 and is still a planet to me no matter what its size is, or what the CIAO definition says it is, or how different its orbit is from the other planets in the solar system. And again, there, Pluto, we're rooting for you. Post your comments below on whether you believe Pluto should be left alone to spin around the Sun with some dignity as a planet, or remain downgraded as a dwarf planet and not more important than a gaseous cloud. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that notification icon for the latest videos as they are released. Thanks for watching and catch you in the next one. Ciao for now.